Yo, what is going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we're back with another VeVe and Ecomi video. And this is an interesting video that I saw from the HODL fandom. I wanted to talk about it a little bit and just go over a few things within it. Like, obviously, I'm a lot more bullish on the project once again, but this is more so a kind of I mean, some bearish things within this video where a lot of people were saying the VeVe is going to die. And like, just seeing the beginning, it makes me realize how much the VeVe community actually just groups all criticism as FUD, and you can't really separate people who are actually making valid points from just completely people who don't know what they're talking about whatsoever. And more so, those are the bigger YouTubers who don't look at, like, well, and I'm not going to say they don't know what they're talking about whatsoever. It's just they don't have any faith in VeVe. They don't know the team. They haven't watched the track record. They haven't watched what VeVe has delivered. Because when I say VeVe has been incompetent, obviously there's not just a complete total flatline level of incompetence. It's not that. When I say they're incompetent, I more so mean everything outside of IP. Like all the hiccups, all the mistakes. Like, yeah, there's some, okay, this stuff just happens in development type of things that's going on. And then there's some for exchanges type of nothing actually happened going on. Then there's over-the-counter deals. There's the communications manager being fired, like after selling his Omi, like or not fired, I don't know, like it's just a weird situation. So let me not spread rumors. Like it appears that he's no longer with the company. So that being said, there's some actual things going on that people can have opinions based on and should have opinions based on, and then there's just stuff where it's kind of, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. So I wish the community could really differentiate a little bit better. But that being said, we're gonna jump into this, man. Be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Let's get it.
Is VeVe dead or dying? Some big names have been riding that train.
The problem is it's closed, so you can't move your NFTs off of VeVe anymore.
Like this right here, that's an easy problem to solve. It's not that it has to be closed. They're NFTs. It's not that it has to be closed. It's that it's chosen to be closed for the overall vision of the project. And just because other projects aren't doing that right now does not mean that VeVe does not have a plan or a vision where it makes sense to have this closed right now. Like I told you all, my impression of this stuff is that it's going to be interoperable when it comes down to where VeVe wants it to go. Like if it's to the Disney metaverse, or if it's to the VeVeverse, or to a wallet that's confirmed by VeVe. Like, I think that they want to control where these assets go to protect the, you know, integrity of the things, as opposed to just letting it roam free on the blockchain, which to an extent I feel like that is what is needed. Like, you can't just go from like the natural order of the world and how things have always been, just strictly Web3. Like, people are not going to convert like that. I think if anything is going to reach that mass adoption status, it's going to be something more so centralized, similar to VeVe. Where it's going to be that good balance of Web3 and the good balance of what we're used to. I think either too far either way could become a bad thing very easily. I think someplace in the middle ground is probably going to be that sweet spot that is going to be what is settled on long term. So yeah, that's just my opinion though.
Not set up great to be kind of just regular part of the NFT.
Is this going to be like
VeVe? And he's basing that on what the NFT space is right now, by the way.
Which is money comes on, but money can't come off.
Money has been able to come off. I've actually cashed out. You all know I've cashed out at one point. So money can come off. That may have went down for a while, but they got it back, I believe, or it's going to be coming back. But obviously that's not true. That's going to, like, it's just a momentary thing. So people are saying VeVe is dead over things that are 100% changeable. Like what, or 100% has been a part of it or is going to be a part of it. Like, this is just stuff is going to come. Be patient. Like, obviously.
You can buy that Spider-Man thing and you could trade it for your little VeVe coin, but then you can't trade your VeVe coin back to dollars. Guess what though? They'll take your dollars.
And some even outright calling it
VeVe dead. VeVe, come on, man. All right, so VeVe, yes, VeVe is dead, I'm afraid to say.
In today's video, let's dig into the numbers to find out what's really going on. Is VeVe dying, or is it already dead?
Yeah, and see, this I hate being grouped in with people like that. Like, they just were saying complete foolishness, and yeah, like, but you got people like me, Hello K, you got those of us who actually understand. We fully understand. We see the things happening in the broader space. We see all of this, and we bring up valid criticisms, and people just ignore any criticism when it comes down to VeVe, and it's weird. It's definitely weird and way too cultish, way too cultish.
You know I love to quantify things. It's not Monday, but let's look at the data, Meta Monday style, to get us started in this investigation. Here we have the total transactions for the past 3 quarters. That's October 22 to present day. There is a general slow decline in overall transactions on both primary and secondary markets, with it peaking in October at around 384,000 transactions. And we should end the month at around 290,000 transactions. That's a 24% decline. And if I was a TA guy, I'd say something like, hey, look at those lower highs and lower lows. 24% is bad, but it's not catastrophic, since the total, it's still kind of up there, which isn't too surprising since VeVe continues to release products week to week, while sometimes adapting the releases with lower mints to account for the lower demand during this bear market. I also want to point out that these peaks here, I believe Ecomi has a long calendar of planned releases, which include periodically dropping grails or other items they know would have a higher demand. Now, I believe they space these out on purpose. With that said, just a word of caution. There's some misleading information out there pertaining to the days or the weeks or even the months with bigger grail type drops. Drop days have high activity. Weeks with 3 drops will obviously have more activity than weeks with only 1 or 2 drops. And months where there are grails released, as I showed earlier, they will have the most activity. The caution is when you see the perma bears showing the weekly decrease in activity, comparing a 1-week drop versus a 3-week drop, for example. The daily ups and downs are even worse because the explanation is so obvious. You'll see a big increase on drop days and a big decrease on non-drop days. Both sides do this. The perma bulls will do the same, but only talk about the positive movements. So please have your critical thinking caps on, because there's a lot of selection bias to fit whatever narrative they want. But back to the main topic here, these ups and downs don't change the fact that if we zoom out, it's an overall downtrend. When we look at the unique buyers, there's a much more definitive pattern that emerges.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this is going back up. I haven't been on VeVe, I haven't checked VeVe. I bought a few items when I came back, but I'm not investing any more into VeVe right now. I put like 1,000 in or something like that. But yeah, I'm not investing any more into VeVe right now. I'm just holding what I have right now. I'm happy with what I have. I don't even remember what I have right now, but I have stuff for sure. I definitely have things. But yeah, and it's probably just like some OG stuff, like some Marvel Comics 1 type things, like where it's, you gotta have those things, and you know it's going to have some value, like where it all began, like true, you know, grail status stuff. But yeah, anyway, I don't know where I was going with this.
The market transactions had
I believe that is going to reverse. I believe that with them onboarding Asia, obviously things are going to go back up. But at the same time, when things are back bullish again and people see that VeVe has a metaverse this time, like last time we saw VeVe, there was no metaverse. Now there is a metaverse. Now, like, it's going to look like, oh, VeVe is reloaded this time around. And I think that maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe that's the strategy, where it's like, okay, some people just completely left the project, thought it was a scam, thought it was a rug pull. Next bull run, they look up, VeVe is back in the headlines, but this time there's a metaverse associated with it. The OMI token actually has utility. There's like everything that they said was going to happen. Like when this gets refreshed in people's minds who's been on VeVe before, now they actually see things delivered. Those of us who's been here watching the ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and not delivering and stuff like that, yeah, we're here experiencing the bad and stuff like that. But to be fair, the majority of people who just, oh, this is a scam, I'm gone, money out, like those people, they're not going to see all the roller coaster. They're just going to see next time they put eyes on VeVe, it's going to be massive. So to an extent, like maybe that's a good strategy, but also you could just come out and say that. Like you could come out and say that. Like this is the thing. Like a lot of this stuff is easily said where, oh, it's part of the plan, man. Part of the plan. Let us know there's a plan and it's part of it.
24% downtrend. But the people participating is falling at a concerning rate. I count active user as someone who actively participates in the market. Quarter over quarter, that's a 12% drop in Q1 23 and a 14% drop in Q2 23. From top to bottom in this range, so that's from October last year, we had just under 35,000 unique monthly users. In June, we're at 21,000. That's a 40% drop. That's pretty big in just 9 months. So let me take my own advice I gave you earlier and zoom out to find a few different perspectives and see if that story still makes sense. First up is the global NFT marketplace, and you'll see an interesting and familiar trend. Using the same date range as our VeVe data earlier, you can see that total unique buyers quarter over quarter drops 19% in Q1 and 33% in Q2. There is a downtrend in NFT buyers, both globally and within VeVe. Total transactions presents a different story. Q1 was up 43% and Q2 was up 9% quarter over quarter. As always, the devil's in the details. A massive driver to the rise in transactions on the global NFT markets can be attributed to, number one, February was inflated by the Blur token farming period, or wash trading, in the hopes of getting a bigger share of the Blur token airdrop. And number two, Arbitrum launch airdrop in March contributed to 2.7 million transactions daily. Now here's my interpretation of that data. Now VeVe and the overall markets are suffering from a whole lot of churn. Users drop off month over month. That's not a good sign. Of that dwindling population, there are jumps in activity when there's some incentive for profit. Within VeVe, that's when grails or items of perceived future value are dropped, or if you're incentivized to buy things that result in an exclusive item like an airdrop. That same thing happens outside of VeVe. The upticks in activity are when the platforms offer a token or an NFT airdrop. But taking that out, it's the same downward trends. I even see some sales tactics to try to boost sales. A new thing from Palm is where you can access the drop only if you buy the previous comic drop. Now, I bought them just because they're $10, but deep down, I thoroughly dislike that tactic because it's like those sales promos that say, hey, you can get 50% off an item, but you got to buy 3 things first at the full price. Those business tactics, those practices are just trying to squeeze more out of each interaction with a customer. Those can only take you so far, especially when discretionary spending is way down, something I've been saying would happen for over a year now. Even with that said, we can put to rest the whole VeVe is dead thing. 20,000 unique active wallets and 290,000 transactions in June is far from dead. Now, I want to be clear. Now, the people who I will clip into this intro, who talked negatively about this, I do respect them. A few of them. DZ is low-key one of the smarter people on that channel. If you listen to his words, he knows what he's talking about. And Paul Barron provides very good coverage on the overall crypto space. People who cover the news, guess what? Sometimes they have hot takes. It happens all the time, especially in sports.
Tom Brady's just about done. It could be his next game he plays, it could be a year from now, but he is going to fall off a cliff.
I also think this stems from the fact that they also sold their Omi or VeVe collectibles. I mean, I do it all the time. When I bet on golf, if I choose a guy over another, I want the guy I didn't choose. I want him to do poorly just to justify my choice. When you sell something, you want it to go down to justify your choice for exiting your position. We see it all the time in our community.
By the way, see, this is another thing. I never did that. I never said VeVe was dead based off the fact that I sold. And I also still continued to hold things even after I sold. I sold for business reasons, which worked out beautifully for me because I would be, down bad if I didn't make the decision that I made. But yeah, it worked out beautifully for me, but I didn't try to sit here and spin narratives as that was in my favor after, certain things happen. I always keep it real, always keep it honest, like VeVe just wasn't delivering. Now they are. Now I'm back interested, that's what it is.
Everybody who apparently left but stays around just to be FUD faces. It's the same psychology just to justify their exit position. And yes, I just did say FUD faces. I'm going to start using that. So again, it's not dead, but users are definitely on the decline, and transactions are propped up by sales tactics and not innovation. If nothing changes, that is not sustainable. Airdrops and sales tactics are just temporary band-aids. Luckily, I believe there are some positive things within VeVe that might do well for us, but more on that in part 3 of this video. In this next part, I want to explore what would it then take to kill VeVe? What are the top going concern issues, at least in my mind? And the first thing is kind of connected to part 1, which is an extended bear market combined with a lack of innovation, because as it is, the status quo is leading to a steady decline in users.
And that's already been debunked. Like, this video is a little bit older. I forgot if it was 1 month or 3, but it's a little bit older, and that's already different now because there has been some innovation and some innovative changes, as in the metaverse is actually here. That's huge. That's different. That's something. So this is already, you know, kind of checked off the list in a way. We know cash out's coming back. I mean, yeah, like VeVe doesn't have to really resort to these type of tactics, to be honest. VeVe doesn't need to do that. They do things to keep the experience fun overall. See, now it's certain areas that VeVe is just not, it's not even a question. VeVe is not struggling in these areas, and they never will be, because this is truly passionate. This is why I've always been very selective with my word, incompetent, more so than scam or anything crazy like that. Like, I think that this is all passion, it's all love. They want to do things that's fun. They want to do things that's great. Like, but it's just like, I think that they don't know a lot. They don't know what they're doing in some areas, and it's painfully obvious in some areas. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And that's why I've always used that wording, incompetent, because it's like, bro, you got a lot of people here telling you where you're going wrong. And it's like, oh no, you're going to do what you do well, and then keep doing what you do bad, instead of listening to the people who are telling you you're doing something bad. Illogical in my opinion, but hey.
And activity. Now, one of the things that helps innovation is money. You need money to hire the people to create and develop your product and ideas. And if you watched my last video and also agree with my thesis that we are entering a new era of investing, then you know that the free money, which small tech relies on heavily, they rely on it to build, that free money will no longer be available. That's a pretty big risk. Now, in regards to what else will kill the platform, the next thing we don't really know about, and we will never know about unless Ecomi goes public or bankrupt. Now, I'm talking about their real financial health. Some like to pull out their multiple.
I mean, the fact that they've hired 100 people, that is a great sign of their financial health strength. So yeah, I mean, this is true. We won't ever really know, but that's the sign that the hiring is a good indicator, you know.
Tables and boast about what top line revenue is like it's only a good thing, but that's on its own is very misleading. Now, I've talked about that too in past Meta Monday episodes, but I always make sure it was a comparative stat, as in, hey, they're in the top 3 in sales relative to other platforms, for example. Now, the reason I do that is I expect you to understand that if we're in the top 3, then we're better off than those, say, outside the top 10. Those projects outside the top 10, they should face difficulties first. They're our canaries in the coal mine. Without full financials, or without even just that basic comparative analysis, gross revenue on its own and reported blindly as a positive thing, it's very misleading. A light bulb needs to go off in your head when a platform like Dapper's NFL All Day reportedly is being sued by the NFLPA for lack of revenue. When I look into this, something seemed kind of odd. NFL All Day's year-to-date 2023 sales is about $10 million. 2022, so last year, full year sales was 121 million. And life to date, they have 131 million in sales. How can a platform pulling in those numbers not have enough? Now, those are real numbers, but here are my thoughts, my interpretation of that. Now, 2021 was the birth of the NFT hype with NBA Top Shot. In February 21, they had 224 million in sales. In just the month of February, that is almost double what NFL All Day has pulled in their entire existence. Top Shot made that in a single month. For full year 21, they had a staggering 826 million in revenue. Now you combine that with everyone rushing to secure licensing agreements. Ecomi had Al Khan and others. I believe they really had to pull out all the stops to make deals with other licensors. I'm sure people like Gary Vee did everything he could to secure the licenses he has during this whole frenzy. Now let's flip the tables and look at the licensor's perspective. To sell NFL gear, you need to secure a 100,000 minimum royalty guarantee and pay that annually to the NFL. However, if you're the NFL, you're also looking at that 826 million in revenue from NBA Top Shot. Combined with all those phone calls of everyone wanting a partnership with you, you know as a licensor, you're calling the shot. You're setting the price, and your price just got way more expensive. Those guarantees and royalties are now burning a hole in the licensee's financial statements, despite seemingly strong top-line numbers. Now, I mean, this happens all the time. Take a look at Toys R Us. They've had revenue in the tens of millions, but haven't had a positive net income since January 21. So again, reading one single line without context is wrong and frankly, very poor analysis. And that's just general income statement items. Looking at cash flows or the balance sheet, those are totally different and would provide a whole different kind of insight. The reality is, we don't know what Ecomi's financials look like. If you're a critical thinker, then there are red flags when the 121 million of revenue generated by All Day is still not enough. So when the conversation is about going concern issues with VeVe, Yes, there is the potential with this because the unknown of liabilities, commitments, or even overcommitments for the sake of securing licensing agreements. All these unknowns, in my opinion, are potential issues, especially.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Like, then this is what has actually changed. Like, I love his perspective and his takes and his explanation of everything, because that's the thing that has changed. Like, not only are they hiring the people, putting the people in place and delivering things now, like they're actually doing more positive things at this point in time. But at the same time, being able to hire that many people shows financial strength. Because you're not, like, someone in the comment section said something crazy like, what if they're going to fire them all? You know how easy it is to fire people? So they just hired 100 people to fire them. It's like, the things people say are a hell of a lot more illogical than the reality. The reality is they're actually spending that money now. And now that we see they have it. They have it to some extent. You hired 100 people, like, you have some bread. And what do you need 100 people for? Because to run VeVe the way that it's been run, you ain't need to hire 100 people to do VeVe if you was just going to do the same thing that you've been doing. You don't need 100 people for that. But obviously, some big moves, some big pushes are being made, and some directions. And I mean, I'm along for the ride to see where they're going with this. But yeah, so we're seeing some financial strength on that front.
Especially in an economy with big names showing their flaws in their operations. The next going concern, in my opinion, here will be a quick one, and that's with the Ecomi token. No, the risk is not regulation. I believe US regulation with the SEC will severely hamper the growth of any crypto that they target. But since many cryptos are registered outside the US, they will continue to operate. But make no mistake, in order to truly thrive, we need the world's largest economy to participate. Now, I believe the death of the Ecomi token will be if the team in charge abandons the token.
This is no longer concern. So see, this is making me even more bullish. Like, because obviously I definitely respect my man's, and he's very solid when it comes down to this analysis stuff, and everything that he's pointing out, VeVe has at this point corrected. And these was the concerns that all the bulls were seeing to an extent. Like me, K, this is the stuff that we're seeing at one point in time. And now you come back, they're marketing the Ecomi token side by side with VeVe and side by side with Ecomi. Like I just did in a recent video. Like now the biggest arguments for VeVe being dead is kind of gone. It's very much gone. Like you can actually see they're flexing money, hiring 100 people. They're hiring 100 people, which is going to increase the production output and the productivity of the company as a whole. And they're showing you like they have utility program now. They have the utility, like utility is coming to the Ecomi token, and they're marketing the fact that the Ecomi token is associated with the Ecomi brand and the VeVe brand. It's like everything that was a concern is pretty much addressed at this point. And that's why I wanted to see this video, because I knew that he was going to do a solid analysis, and I was pretty confident that a lot of this stuff is going to no longer be problems. And that is why I made the decision to come back in the first place. A lot of the stuff that I was concerned about, it's like, okay, I see differently now. I definitely see differently now. And me, I don't know if he's going to get into it. VeVeverse would be a big thing too, but for me, but it's there now, you know, it's there. So it's like, what actual concerns are there? I mean, at this point, it is patience. Like they've delivered the core things. Like it's patience at this point. This is a point where everything seems and appears solid.
I don't believe the current team will do that, although the final tokenomics are still up in the air. What I'm referring to is if they're ever bought out, and if the buyers realize, hey, the app kind of doesn't need the Ecomi token to operate. I want to be very clear. That's a lot of ifs stacked on each other.
I don't think they'll be bought out. I don't think at this point, I don't believe that they'll be bought out. But yeah.
So very unlikely at this point. Plus, at present day, I do not believe the team is trying to sell the company. I have seen firsthand a few mergers and acquisitions. They are more frequent in smaller tech firms. So let me put it this way. I do not see the characteristics that I've seen in the past. I don't see that with Ecomi in terms of a potential a company trying to sell themselves. That doesn't mean somebody won't come in and try to buy them. That's just what my experience tells me about companies wanting to sell the company. Now let's talk about the good stuff preventing a VeVe death before you all start calling me the FUD face. Firstly, it's the licenses. Easily, that's the #1 strength. We have the best arsenal of licenses out there. Now, there are risks that the licensors could go to other platforms, like how we see Star Wars NFTs with Cryptoids. I do like cryptoids. I did a max mint with a Star Wars drop, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I was drawn to cryptoids because of He-Man. This is a little off topic, but back in the mid to late 80s, me and my dad would go to a local video store and rent out every week the local He-Man on Betamax tapes, beta tapes. Those were before VHS, which was before DVDs and laser discs. My point is, licenses, they are a strength now, but it's only a matter of time before we see other platforms with the same IP as VeVe. Another strength is the active users. Yes, despite the downward trend in unique buyers, it's still close to the top relative to the rest of the NFT market. For June, VeVe's 20,000 active users would rank number 4 behind DMarket, SoulRare, and Ordinals. The other projects lower in these charts are the canaries in the coal mine. The lower you go down the list, the more likely they are to fall. The risk to this is, and I hinted at this earlier, Ecomi needs to innovate and invigorate the NFT market. The status quo equals a declining user base. And the issue is innovation like VeVeverse and gamification, those all take time and money. The good thing is
and they're here now, like, so, you know, like, yeah, this was a well put together video, and it's nice to see a lot of his points that he's touched on are all points that's been addressed by VeVe for the most part.
I think Ecomi is buying itself that time with a strategy to reach out to international markets. Now, I don't see many other platforms doing that. So I'm hoping that slows down the churn and contributes to net income, as long as the partnership deals make sense. Now I'll end with VeVe's biggest strength, and that's you, the community. You guys are keeping Twitter Spaces alive, watching videos from myself and others from the community, and spending your hard-earned money on their products. The risk to that strength is, at times we become a fractured community. If someone has a hot take, we cultishly go after them. And there are mood swings between the Moon Boys and the FUD faces bickering at every opportunity. VeVe is the premium digital collectible platform in the NFT space. We have premium products, but we also want a premium community. My challenge to you is, when there's an opinion that differs from yours and you want to attack or retaliate, just ask yourself, what part of premium are you? If others see this premium community, they'll be more incentivized to join and stay. This community, it's a strength that we can actually control and contribute to. Now, we need to do a better job of keeping it premium.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Like, the community turned on and attacked its own. Like, that's crazy. I've been attacked, Kay's been attacked, and every point that we've made has been valid. And now that the points are being addressed and rectified, I'm back. I believe you'll probably see others return as well. It's like, at a point where somebody who's been here, you know that they're bullish, you know they care about the project, love the community. Like, why are you attacking your own? So if I'll get that type of treatment, imagine what will happen to some random person. It's like, that's crazy.
Thanks for watching.
Yo, dope video, amazing video, bro. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna leave a link down below as always, man. But let me know what you all think. Let me know what you all think, how you all feel about this, man. Yeah, be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace out, fam.